We are going to be live inside our home
And just
because, and we always give people a minute to log on, but um, it was pouring rain outside. We are in our rainy season and it is pouring rain every afternoon. I had to drive home in it from fishing, so.
okay. Let's see here. Oh, bang, zoom. You guys ever have trouble getting your phone into a little holder thingamajigger? Ah. Okay, there we go. Woo! We're all set. My chair just made a questionable sound. I may have plopped down a little aggressively.
Yes, on my favorite piece of furniture that we own, this
The chair?
buffet.
I think the chair is what made the noise, not the buffet.
So, welcome back, Carter. Oh, my elbow hurts from working out. Ow.
Got a little gym elbow?
I do. I have a little tendonitis right on my elbow bone.
You want me to help you with that? Here, let me show you how.
No, I don't want you to touch it because you'll be mean.
I was totally going to be mean, just to be clear about it. So, guys, hope everybody had a great weekend. Here we are knocking on Hump Day's door. So, thanks again for joining us for a little midweek break.
Look, I don't have clothes on.
Whoa! It's a family-friendly show.
Over here, I do indeed have clothing on.
Family-friendly here. So our topic of discussion tonight, a few things, but the focus is just going to be the week in review.
What'd you do this weekend?
Exactly. What did everybody do this weekend? I did something. It was a thing. It was a pretty cool thing. You want to see evidence? Check it out. You want to see the weirdest tan ever? Look right here. See the circle? Look on top. See the line? That's what happens when you wear your ball cap backwards for too long out in the sun. You get these freakish weird tan lines. So I got an invitation from one of our better friends to have a little fishing, we might say adventure. This last weekend it was pretty intense. It was super cool, unbelievable for me, for a guy who wasn't born and raised in South Florida, who got here as soon as he could, but I was a little late to the party. For a guy like me, this was like a lifetime kind of a deal. I went with 5 other guys, 6 of us total. We went out at the furthest point about 120 miles out into the Gulf of America.
Woo! America!
To stack some meat in the old meat wagon. And it was amazing. Oh, and I should say 120 miles out in the Gulf. I kind of clipped it a little short there. For about 30 hours in an open center console boat with no cabin or anything like that. And it was hardcore and it was awesome. The boat that we went on, a friend of a friend, boat's name is the Meat Wagon, and it was the Meat Wagon. And it was an unbelievable boat. Like, I don't even know how big it was, but I'm going to say it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 32 feet, 34 maybe, something like that. Twin 300 Yamaha outboards. That boat would flat run. It was a World Cat, so catamaran hull, rough seas, hammer down.
I love catamarans. On
6 people and a ton of gear in it, and that thing just skinning it out. Storms off to the left, storms off to the right, watching the lightning, and we're just splitting away the whole way, dodging the storms. It was intense. And then once we get out there, Ben, he's got the information. He's got the numbers, the locations, and he just steady put us on fish. And we'd stop in his spot that he had marked on his GPS, and if in 5 minutes we're not catching, reel them up, we're moving. Because typically, if we're going to catch, you're going to catch as soon as you drop those baits down. Soon as you get there, boom, they're going to start eating. And you're going to catch for a while, and then they're either going to stop eating or the sharks are going to show up and steal all your crap. So when that starts, you just move on to the next spot. Um, Caught some unbelievable fish. I can't tell you how many fish we caught. I have no idea. A lot. A lot. We had our limit in red snapper, and I don't mean red snapper. I'm talking stop signs, big dinosaur red snappers, 15 to 20 pound red snappers had our limit on them like that. Um, it was pretty amazing. So then once we're done with the snappers, then we start targeting groupers. We're looking for red grouper and for scamp because they're both in season. Caught some monster red groupers, monsters. Filleted one right here on Aaron's kitchen counter last night. That was interesting.
We got our first taste of fresh grouper last night, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was legit. Um, and caught some scamp grouper, caught a bunch of vermilions, caught some absolute behemoth gag groupers, but they're out of season right now, so I had to let them guys go. And sharks were enjoying the gags because as soon as we could get them, halfway up off the bottom, and you don't know what you got. All you know is you got something that's trying its very best to break your arms, and he's doing a good job of it. And you get them halfway up, and then whoom, a shark nails them. That happened a couple times. One of them that got sharked, when we got it in the boat, the only thing that was left was just the head. And I'm not fluffing it. I'm not talking like head and halfway down the dorsal fin. No, head, gill plate, and that was it. And we put that, and the head was so massive. We put the head on the scale. Just the head was 15 pounds. That was ridiculous, that gag. That was a big one. One of the other guys hooked up at one point on, only thing I could figure out had to be a Goliath, and there was no prayer at all. He's not a small man by any stretch, and he hooked up, and a few minutes later, I look over, his face is beet red, every vein in his neck and forehead are bulging, and he's holding the rod with everything he's got, and he starts yelling, "I need help, I need help, I need help." So two of us run over to help him. There's three of us on one rod. I don't mean we're taking turns. All three at the same time. He's still got the rod in his hands, and he's running the reel. I'm standing right here on one side of him. Another guy's standing here on the other side. And he and I, we're just holding the rod. And all we're doing is lifting for him. And, okay, now reel down. And he reeled down. And we lift. And this went on. It's tiring. And this went on. We fought that fish for like 15 minutes. And we started making some ground on it. We're like, all right, we got him off the bottom. What is this absolute sea monster going to be? And we got him about halfway up, and he decided he didn't much care for that. He made another run and starts stripping drag, and it's a big reel. And I turned to dude because it's just taking line. I turned to him. I said, "Dude, lock the freaking drag down." And he points and he goes, "It's locked." And I look down and the lever's all the way forward. The drag is slammed shut, and that fish is still taking line like it's nothing. Just zzz, and then boom, the 100-pound braid broke, gone. The end. That was intense.
Dang. So you had a good time. And they spent the night. They slept overnight.
Yeah, we were out about 30 hours.
Yeah. Which...
It was, as I say, it was fun. It was amazing, and I'd love to do it again. But it was pretty intense. We fished. We left the marina at noon. We were fishing by about 2:30. Took 2.5 hours to get out to the first stop. And from 2:30 p.m. we fished nonstop till about 3 or 3:30 a.m. in the morning. So we fished like 11 hours, hard grinding. I felt like such a wuss. My arms just gave out, just absolutely gave out. It was about 8 p.m. We're 6 hours into fishing. And I stopped for a minute and I set my rod down and both of my arms just go like this. And I couldn't stop them. They were just, my biceps were just cramping, and my arms were, and my hands were cramping. I was crap. But I had brought pickles, ate pickles, cramps went away, energy drink, boom, 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 second wind, go. And we fished for another 5 hours, 6 hours after that. Uh, then about 3 o'clock in the morning, when we were all just like zombies, well, okay, it's bedtime, and he's got 6 bean bags piled up on the
Yeah.
bow of the boat. Everybody grab a bean bag, throw it down in the boat, and turn off the music and turn off most of the lights. Keep a few lights on for safety, and do your best to go to sleep, which wasn't very hard.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, I woke up at one point because the seas were pretty calm when we went to sleep. I wake up because I'm hearing this ka-goon-ka-boom, ka-goon-ka-boom, ka-goon-ka-boom. And I'm like, and I look up and the seas are no longer calm. It got pretty sporty. The boat's rolling and all the rods and the rod holders are going ba-boom, ba-dim, ba-dim, and that's what I was hearing.
So
And the only other thing I can hear is because like 4 of the dudes in the boat are just sawing logs.
So do you wake up and the boat's moved, like you don't know where you are?
Oh, it moved. It moved a lot. We only slept 2.5 hours. Uh, and when we got up, we're like, all right, let's see where we are. And he fires up the GPS, the Navi system. And yeah, we had and we had an anchor down at that point. We put the anchor down before we went to sleep. And we had dragged that anchor 3 miles over a couple hours while we were sleeping. So
Dang.
that was pretty cool. So all in an amazing experience, and I'm super grateful to the guys that invited me to go and getting to experience that. It's probably not for everybody, but I would highly recommend it if you get an opportunity to put your
Yeah.
big boy pants on and go and do it. And you're gonna need a few beers while you're out there, and you're gonna need some food to keep a little fuel in your tank and button it up and get ready. Cool stuff.
Yes.
How about you guys? What'd y'all do this weekend? Anybody else do any fishing this weekend? Uh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I went out today and I actually caught a shark. We were trying to, well, first we were inshore and it was kind of low tide and the fish weren't biting. So we went out to try to catch a cobia and I caught a shark. Which, I mean, the tug is a drug, right? So it was fun and I got it all the way to the boat, which was good. But I didn't catch a cobia. And then we actually went out to Boca Grande. And it was crazy. We went through the pass, and the pass was so rough, and I was actually getting a little bit seasick. And I think,
Oh, you're gonna let people know about that?
well, yeah, it was really hot today, and we were trying to find pass crabs, and so we're staring at the water, and the boat's going like this. And but I didn't tell anyone on the boat. I was like, I kept it
Just
to
sit there
myself.
going.
Yeah, but we get out of the pass into the Gulf of America, and it was like a lake out there. And then all of a sudden, there was maybe like 3 or 4 other charter boats out there. I mean, I probably saw 100 tarpon rolling today. They were in giant schools, and it was really fun.
And for those of you who are, freshwater folks, live inland or whatever, if you've never seen a tarpon before, that's a pretty
They're
amazing
big.
sight. These are fish as big as me,
Yeah.
and they'll be up on the surface. They have to gulp air for their swim bladder. I ain't gonna pretend to understand it like I'm some kind of biologist or something, but they do have to literally take mouthfuls of air periodically, um, and keep their swim bladder inflated that way to keep them, neutrally buoyant, I suppose you call that. Um, so they always are coming up on the surface, and it's not an aggressive thing. It's just a bloop, and you just see you see their face come out of the water, and then you see their dorsal fin, and they go back down.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dang cool to see.
So, couple things. Number one, last week we showed you our new inshore slam shirt. It is now available on our website. If you did want to go ahead and buy one, saltyackcharters.com.
In case you're one of those sissy boys that was tuned in last week, and you would prefer to just buy one rather than coming down and earning one, she's got them live on the website.
Yeah. And what else was I going to tell you? Of course, we have these hats too. But I was going to ask you a couple
Hang on.
questions.
Before you do,
Okay.
I'm going to add to her story about what she did today.
Okay.
To be clear, this is Tuesday, right? And she peeled away from work and hopped on a boat and went out and went fishing, caught a shark. I wasn't there. I was working. My point to that is it's a pretty cool thing when your wife or your spouse or your significant other has picked up your hobby to such a level that now they're going out and doing it even when you can't. Even when they're going out without you to do it. And
Girls trip.
it's amazing to me. I couldn't be happier that that's happening. And
A lot of girls are picking up fishing. It's crazy.
And every day, guys ask me, man, how did you find a girl that would go fishing with you? How do you have a girl that can fish? How'd you get? Here's the simple truth, guys. I'm not going to pretend that I was the mastermind of this deal. This totally happened on accident. I didn't even know that I was doing it.
The first like 18 years of our marriage, I hated fishing.
Got it. So, but what it was, I think, that triggered the biggest change. Number one, our location, of course, but even bigger than that, because when our location first changed, the first year we were here, she didn't give a crap about fishing. She didn't fish. She'd go out with me, dang near every day on the water, but she didn't fish. She'd just hang out, paddle around, look for dolphins, look for manatees, do some video and stuff like that, and that was that. And she was happy with that. And I could never get her to fish. But I think what really changed it was when, at one point, I bought her a bunch of her own gear. Because here's the deal, guys. And again, I didn't even know I was doing this. They don't want to use our stuff because they're afraid they're going to screw it up, and they're afraid that we're going to be big old fat titty babies about it, because we probably would be if we're being honest. And that's pressure for them, and they don't want that. But when all of a sudden she had her own stuff, and by the way, it wasn't Barbie crap from Walmart. It wasn't junk. I bought her good gear. Not, I didn't buy her the most expensive stuff. I didn't buy her a Stella or a Saltiga or anything like that. But I bought her good quality gear, good middle of the road rod and reel with good line and some terminal tackle and some lures and good basic stuff, and got her all set up. Well, at that point, I think what happens is they're relieved of that pressure that they don't have to worry if they screw something up, because it's not mine that she's screwing up. And when she screwed up her own stuff, I didn't give her crap about it. One time I did. One time I gave her crap about it. When for the second time in 1 week she dropped a rod in the water and lost it. And I told her, get your ass in the water and go find it. The water's only 12 feet deep. You can find it. Go. And she did. She dove out of the kayak and swam around and came up with a rod in her hand. We were all super impressed. That's the only time I ever gave her crap about it. But, a lot of things happen along the way where reels got damaged and rods got damaged and stuff got lost. But it wasn't just hers, me too.
It's a process, a learning process.
And we don't give each other a hard time when it happens. So all I'm saying is, guys, if you want your significant other to join this hobby, or for us, this passion, this way of life with you, and you want her to enjoy it, step one, man, go get her some of her own stuff and surprise her with it. And say, honey, look what I got you. Would you go fishing with me?
Yeah.
Bet you she will.
And don't browbeat them when they mess up, because they're going to mess up. I mean, there's a lot to do and think about.
What was it? Friday afternoon, we went out for a few hours after work on Friday afternoon. We go to this spot where it was brand new to me. I'd never been there. She's been there. She went there one time all by herself on her paddleboard. And then ever since she's been like, we got to go there, we got to go there, we got to go there. I saw somebody fish. So Friday afternoon, she's like, hey, you want to go hit that spot that I've been telling you about? Said, yeah, let's go. Load up, we go. We're fishing. It was amazing. Slayed some freaking
fun. We brought him
snook.
fish. We had dinner, so
caught a ton of snook. Plus, she got a keeper flounder,
keeper sheep,
a big donkey sheephead. And I got a nice keeper mangrove snapper. We brought those home and had dinner that night. But we also caught a bunch of nice snook. And also some of the coolest little tiny baby snook we've ever even seen. About that
Y'all, I have never seen smaller snook in my life. That was crazy.
On a 2-aught hook.
I know.
I don't know how they even got it in their mouth. But my point, along the way, we're kind of cruising along, and I just look over at Erin, and she's looking down in the water like this. And then she reaches up on the bow of her boat and gets her net, like her net for landing fish, and she's doing that with her net. And I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Drop something." I said, "What'd you drop?" She goes, "My microphone."
One of these.
Yeah, and our microphones, they're new. We just got them very recently, and they're really awesome, amazing. And they come in a 2-pack, and they sync up with our GoPros where we can talk together. Well, they don't sync up too good when one of them's in the bottom of the ocean.
Oops. I did it again. I mean, it's magnetized. It's a magnet on the back, and it just came off, and I didn't know it came off. You
Right.
know, what are you gonna do?
My point is, stuff happens.
Yeah.
And get somebody out there with you. And when stuff happens, not if, but when stuff happens, yeah, don't bust your chops about it. Laugh, screw it, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
money. We'll get some more microphones eventually. It may be a little bit, but we'll
So
get some.
if you guys would please buy a shirt.
Yeah. Or if anybody would like to donate a couple more DJI microphones, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that's funny.
So sorry.
Oh, you're good. So, okay, I want to talk about. So, there's an unwritten code for spot sharing. Tell me your view on spot sharing because I know even with like we've gotten close with friends here and they still wouldn't share spots with us.
Oh yeah, they're still secretive as hell. They're like, "Hey, you want to go fishing tomorrow?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, let's go. Where you want to go?" And he's like, "I don't know. Where's your favorite spot?" I'm like, "You invited me, homie. Where's your favorite spot?" Yeah. So
What's the secret code on when do you share your spots and
here's my take on
yeah,
that.
I want your take.
Because we're
I
like,
think it's funny. It's
I'm
interesting.
like a dog on a fire plug, man. I'm gonna pee on it. It's mine. 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 Mine.
We have some favorite spots that we don't mention on here specifically.
True, but as far as sharing spots with people I know, with my friends, and things like that, I'll share every single spot that I've got with them. But there is a bit of a bro code to it. I'll take you to my spot, and I'll show you, even once we get to my spot, where are my specific little holes at my spot where I can usually find fish, and what baits work best there. I'll take any one of my friends to my favorite honey holes, and I'll show them all that. But the catch, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, is that
They keep it to themselves.
they keep it to themselves, and they don't start taking other people to your spots. Like I don't even care if I show my dude my spot. That sounded gay. Uh, if I show my buddy my spot, I don't even care if he goes back there himself. A lot of folks they draw the line there. Like I'll take it to my spot, but then you can only ever go there with me. I'm not like that. I don't even care if my buddy goes back and fishes those spots, but I will ask that he not tell other people about those spots. And not because I'm being possessive, but just because that's the domino effect. And before you know it, instead of you and a few other people knowing your spot, then a few of their people know, and a few of their people know, and a few of their people know, and now your spot sucks. Every time you show up there, there's going to be people there, and there's going to be less fish there. So.
True.
So let your buddy take you to his spot. Thank him for taking you there, and then don't share his spot with other people. Good answer?
Yeah, I mean it's your answer, so I was just
So it's
curious.
bound to be a good answer if it's mine.
Okay, so if someone was coming to Florida to fish and they were on a major budget, and you've been asked this specifically, I'm looking at comments.
Okay.
You've been asked this specifically before when you've worked in the tackle shop.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most inexpensive way for them to get set up to go saltwater fishing for the day?
So they just got to town and they have nothing.
They have nothing. They flew in with nothing. What do they do to go catch, a snook or a redfish?
Okay, so the first thing is, I want to talk about finding, go to some place like St. Pete's where they're knowledgeable and helpful and all that. They'll build you up right. But if we're on a tight budget, and I think here's the real kicker to what you just said, they're going to be fishing for the day. or even the weekend, and then bouncing and they're out and they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
So in that case, we don't need to buy any expensive gear at all because they're not going to use it. Oh my God, I can't believe these words are about to come out of my mouth. You probably just need to go to Walmart or Academy for your rod and reel. Oh, that was like pure vinegar in my mouth.
Because even if it gets salt water in it, if you're just using it for the weekend.
And when you're brand new to fishing saltwater, you're going to wreck your rig 100%. It's going to be a rusted out hunk of crap at the end of the week. So for your first one, when you're getting down here and you don't know what you're doing, go get your rod and reel at Walmart or Academy, and get still yet, don't get their store brand, get a decent brand. But you can get set up on a rod and reel at one of those places realistically somewhere in the neighborhood of like $50 for your rod and reel.
Oh, damn.
It's going to be crap, but you can get it. It'll get it done for the weekend.
I mean, yeah.
It will. It'll absolutely get it done for the weekend. It just won't last. And then that's all you need to buy there. Because here's the other thing: if you just got to town, you don't know what is going to be effective in that given area of where you go. So take that cheap rod and reel, get some line for it, or maybe don't even get line for it yet. Now go find you a mom and pop local tackle shop. Excuse me, if you're coming to the Tampa Bay area, I highly recommend going to St. Pete Fishing Outfitters. And they have other locations too. There's a Tampa Outfitters, there's a Turpin Outfitters, and there's Lakeland Outfitters, and that's all the same company. They just got 4 or 5 locations. But my personal experience is at the one in St. Pete, because every dude that's working in there is a fisherman. I can tell you they go through a pretty serious interview to get hired there, and it's about, all right, I want to go snook fishing, walk through this store and set me up. That's the interview process. I want to go offshore and catch a grouper, walk through this store and set me up. So these are guys that know what they're talking about. And when you get in a local shop like that, they're going to know for their specific areas what kind of stuff works and what doesn't. So the beauty about that is that you're not going to waste money. You're only going to, and let them know, hey, dude, I'm on a budget. And most of them will be like, okay, cool. Give me an idea of the max that you're comfortable spending today. And if you tell them, I got to get out of here at $50 or less, and I'd like to have 1 or 2 lures that I know can work here, and then I need terminal tackle with hooks and weights and things like that, so I can fish some live bait, so I can throw some shrimp or some, squid, some cut squid or cut greenbacks or whatever. And that's going to be your best way to set that deal up. So realistically, if I absolutely had to and I was only going to use it for a couple days, I'll bet you I could get completely set up and get out and catch fish for somewhere, let's say, under $100. All that stuff, again, that stuff's going to be junk at the end of that deal. But if you want something you can take home with you and keep it, and use it at home freshwater too, and bring it next time you come and keep using it, we're going to need to bump that budget from about 100 to about all in about 300. For $300, I can get you set up with quality gear, quality rod, quality reel, quality line, good quality tackle, and you'll be set. You can do any fishing you want.
Cool. Another question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you could only fish one inshore species forever,
I would shoot myself in the face.
which would you pick?
One inshore species. One and only one.
One and only one forever and ever.
Pretty easy. Redfish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And why?
Damn bulldozers.
Yeah.
They're strong. They're powerful, and they got endurance. They can fight you for a long time. A big red will beat you up for a long time. Snook, they're awesome because they're like lightning bolts. They're so fast when they first take that bait and peel and drag, and it's super exciting. But usually after 1 or 2 good runs, that snook's done, and you're dragging him in after that. And a red, that's not the case at all. Hey, that red can kick for a long time.
Shelby said, I better earn one of those. Whoop. She's talking about the shirt.
You got to earn it, girl. But don't worry, we got you. We'll get that done for you.
Okay, you're stranded on an island. You have a rod, but only one type of bait. What is it? You're stranded on an island, so that means you're beach fishing.
Can it be a live shrimp?
I guess, yeah.
Everything in
But you
saltwater
only
is
have
shrimp.
one live shrimp. So if you're,
One?
I mean,
You said one type.
that's true.
If it's one type, I want live shrimp, and I want
A lot of,
like a 55-gallon drum
that never dies.
ever. Never dies. Uh, that's if it's one type. If it's one bait, if I only could have one bait and not two of it even, just one single, for me that's probably going to be a spoon, uh, like a flutter spoon, because it's all metal. There's no plastic.
Yeah,
There's no
it would
piece
last
of it that
forever.
would typically fail. And it's a really effective bait. A spoon, man, you can fish it so many different ways. Sometimes, like, I'll use it fishing redfish on a grass flat. Longest cast you can make, which is far, a spoon will cast a long distance. And then you're just slow, steady retrieving it over the top of the grass with that occasional little pop, pop. And it's just as it's flashy, flashy like a bait fish swimming. Super effective. But also, then when you get into a little deeper water, you're in a channel or something, you let that sucker flutter down to the bottom and then pop, pop and jerk it up and let it flutter. Jerk it up and let it flutter, and you'll hammer fish with that thing. So,
Yeah.
be the spoon.
Okay, if fishing didn't exist, what would you be doing with your life?
We're back to shooting myself in the face again. It's basically like my face is Iran. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Um, let's see here. If fishing didn't exist, what would I be doing? I seriously can't come up with
I
anything.
know, it's bad, y'all.
Motorcycles? Question mark. I mean, they're
Oh
fun, but
man.
I don't want to do it every day. I do want to go fishing every day.
Isn't that interesting?
Needlepoint. Knit one, purl two. Guys, I can't come up. What would y'all do? Answer that for us. If fishing didn't exist, what's gonna be your biggest hobby after that? How about you, Shelby? What's it gonna be, girl? All right.
All right, what are three rookie mistakes that kayak anglers make?
Okay. The first one, I made it real bad, real bad. Over rigging your kayak, too much crap. That's the most common mistake. Um, the second mistake is buying, this is a big one for kayak anglers, inexpensive reels that don't have sealed bearings.
Because your stuff is getting wet all the time.
Like it or not, I don't care how careful you are, your reel's going to get wet with salt water, right, Shelby? She knows something about that. Sorry, girl. Um, I don't care how careful you are, it's going to get wet, it's going to get salt water in it, and we come home, first thing we do when we get home is everything gets a good thorough bath, and still yet, our reels have limited life. They just do. So if you're going to fish in a kayak, especially in salt water, but also even in freshwater, buy the best reels that you can afford that have sealed bearings, because they're going to last you a lot longer. And in the long term, they're going to cost you a lot less money. Which is why I keep trying to tell Aaron I need a Van stall, because that's the only reel in the entire world that's 100% sealed, waterproof. You could put that sucker on a spear gun and dive underwater and
Dang.
shoot fish in the face underwater and reel them in, and your reel would be fine.
Wow.
I mean, it's $1,000
Was that
but
was that 3 or 2 mistakes?
that was two. That was unsealed reels and overrigging your boat. What's the third one? Okay. Third one is live bait management. Um, and really, this kind of goes back to over rigging your boat too. Um, in the beginning, I thought I had to have one of those,
Aerator.
the Hobie live well that's in the back of your boat, and it's a legitimate live well. It's got an intake, it's got an outlet, it's got an electric pump that's always bringing in fresh water and circulating to keep your bait alive. Pretty cool. Not cool, because when you fill that son of a gun with water, it's 150 pounds in the back of your kayak. It's slowing you down. The pump is loud, so you listen to brrrr right behind your head all day long. And the hole that you get into that thing in is only about that big. And you got to reach behind you and unscrew that lid and get your arm way down in that little hole that's only that big to then chase a bait fish around and get him out. Don't do it. Then I thought, okay, well, I just 5-gallon bucket with an aerator. It works okay. It'll keep them alive. Like shrimp, it'll keep them alive most of the day until that water gets hot. Once it gets hot from the sun pounding on it, everything dies. But uh, again, and all day long I'm to Aaron, huh?
Yeah, he cannot
What?
hear me.
Huh? And so then I abandoned all that and I said I'm just going to use a float bucket. You know, the bucket that just is in the water tied to your boat. It's got holes in it and you drag it around. I called it Old Yellow, the Frabo. And as you all know, then we came across this pretty cool thing called the bait shark, and now we're using the bait shark. But at the end of the day, it's still a float bucket, and it's less is more. You don't need a pump and an aerator and all noise and batteries that are going to die every 37 seconds. The batteries die, and yeah, there you go.
Hmm. What is your biggest pet peeve when fishing around other people?
Turn your damn music off.
Yeah, we'll party at the end after we've caught our
Yeah.
after we've made our slam, okay?
Yeah.
Then we'll party. But please be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, sometime when we're out, we need to take a GoPro and shove it in the water under the kayaks with the music playing, just so we can hear how those vibrations carry into the water. And I mean, I ain't no fish. I can't read their minds, but I gotta think, that's a distraction to them. That's something that's outside of their norm. They're not hearing that all the time, and it's got to make them a little when something's outside of their norm.
Yeah. Yep.
What else you got, girl?
What's the dumbest injury you've ever gotten out there?
Oh God, I would like some of y'all to chime in on some of this too.
Yeah, I haven't gotten another comment, so.
So, what's y'all's worst injury while fishing?
By the way, one of my girlfriends was here a week or two ago, and we went to the beach. We went to Longboat Key, and we get in the water, and all of a sudden I'm like, my ankle's burning a little bit. I just thought to myself, and so I pulled my leg out of the water and looked down, and my whole leg looked like raw hamburger meat. And I had been stung by jellyfish and didn't even know it until I looked down and I'm like, oh.
And then I was like, quit being such a wuss, girl.
Yeah.
And then they got me too.
And of course, I asked my friend to pee on me, and she's like, I already peed. I don't have to go. And I'm like, what kind of friend are you?
Yeah, if you can't pee on my leg when I need it.
You better start chugging some water because I need you to pee on this. But yeah, it was
Have any of y'all ever asked somebody to pee on you?
It gets weird out there.
Again,
We're
with
in
a
Florida.
family-friendly show.
Pretty much anything goes in Florida. So
Yikes.
back to the injuries.
That got weird.
I mean, I get I've been poked by a catfish, and that sucked.
That does suck. And we've all had hooks buried in us, and that sucks. Probably the worst I ever had, though, was the time that I looked away for just a moment when I was de-hooking a bluefish. And because I thought I saw a boat coming to my peripheral, I was fishing in the pass out at Dunedin, and the boat traffic out there is cray-cray. And in my perimeter, I thought I saw a boat, so I turned to look, and as soon as I did, man, that fish went, pop, and he grabbed my finger. And I'm just going to tell you something. A bluefish is basically a piranha. They have a mouthful of razors, and they're so strong. And he latched onto my finger this direction, just like this, and I couldn't get him off. and I'm bleeding everywhere. My boat's full of blood, and I cannot get him off. And I got my pliers, and I'm trying to pry his mouth open with my pliers, but my right hand is in his mouth, and I've got this useless thing that hangs off the left side of my body, trying to pry it, and it's not going well. And the fact that he came like this sideways and got my fingernail like that, that's the only thing that saved my finger. If it wasn't for that nail right there, he'd have took the tip of my finger right off.
Dang,
And
y'all.
at the end of it, I don't know who had more blood in my boat, me or him. But we were both bleeding pretty profusely at the end of it. So that was probably the weirdest injury that I've had while fishing.
Yeah, because you would expect people to be like, "Oh, it was a shark, or it was a piranha, or
I got a giant
whatever."
hook in my eyeball.
Yeah, or it was a hook or whatever. But no, yeah.
What else you got, girl?
Is there any like the fish that got away that still haunts you? Is there a fish, a particular? I broke off 3 times today in 60 foot of water. It gets so expensive too. It took my leader. I'm pretty sure it was sharks because I did catch a shark today. But it took my 3 times, big old weight, tons of leader, hook. I mean that adds up quick.
I got broken off. I don't even know how many times last weekend when we were basically fishing off the coast of Japan. Yeah, I don't even know how many times, and I'm fish that were so incredibly strong. We were fishing. All the rods were bull bay brute forces. They're big, heavy rods, and couldn't hardly get the rod off the side of the boat, off the gunnel of the boat.
Yeah.
Barely could get it up and try to make a few turns on him, and pow, the line would break. And just like, whew, it happened a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there were
There's
a lot.
not a particular fish that you're like, man, I wish I would have caught that. There must not be if you don't have one top of mind.
Not top of mind. There have been a lot of times that I hooked big snook and really wish I could, because I could see them. They're there, they're thrashing and splashing and around the pylon and bink.
Yeah, when we went out last Friday, there was a capsized boat. When the tide was high, it was just barely sticking out. And I hooked onto a snook, and he broke me off.
Broke your heart.
And then when we were coming back, I was like, I'm going to get him. I'm going to fish under this boat again. But then it was low tide, and there was no water over there, so it just didn't work out. So I want to go back and get him. Shelby said she would garden if she didn't fish.
Okay, I can feel that.
And then she said, oof, I got called out laughing. And then, if video proof wasn't bad enough, so Shelby dropped one of our rod and reels in the water.
On video.
But the cool thing was, she still had the hook.
The hook was in her boat.
So we literally, and the bail was open on the rod and reel, on the reel. And so we literally had pulled the entire
200
line.
yards of line.
Yeah, and then, boop, here comes the rod and reel.
And then reeled the line back in. Came home, gave it a good bath. It was fine. That reel's still ticking. You'll probably have to use it when you're here next. Maybe a little crunchy.
Yeah, she's gonna be like.
She's like, oh yeah, it's still working really great. Thanks for giving me this piece of crap.
That's the reel you have to catch fish with. Sorry, Shelby.
We should have her name printed on that thing.
Oh God. It's fun to fish with Shelby because she's very nonchalant about fishing. And she catches fish like crazy because she's not even trying, and they just jump on her hook.
That's how it is for you girls.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just had a thought that I want to talk to you about. This was not on Aaron's agenda. You ready? Everybody paying attention? Bait Makers Challenge. Do you make baits? Do you make any kind of lures, whether it's soft plastics or wooden baits? Excuse me. Anything like that? Do you make them? Do you know anybody who does? We had a guy send us some baits from a guy in Texas, a small business veteran guy who started making lures, and they sent us some of his lures to test, and they were awesome. And it occurred to me, I need a Salt Yak signature line of baits. In particular, I want to start with one. I want one, probably a soft plastic, really. So if you're a bait maker, or if you know a bait maker, I want you to tag them. I want you to let them know that we're going to have a contest. I hadn't really talked with her about this much. It's a surprise. We're going to have a contest. I want every bait maker who is interested in entering the contest to make up their own creation. Pick what is your favorite creation that you make. Comment, message us. We're going to get you an address. Ship a couple of those baits to us. We don't need a whole bunch. Send us 2 or 3 soft plastics. You don't even have to provide the jig head, just a soft plastic. And then we're going to test all these things on a video, and we're going to pick a winner. And the winner is going to be the signature Salt Yak bait. And then of course we'd like to buy some in bulk that we can then turn and market under the Salt Yak name. As a collaboration between whatever's the name of your bait company, ABC Baits and special Salt Yak edition.
Sweet.
I think this can be a cool thing, guys. If you know a bait maker, let them know about it.
All right.
We'll make a video about it too and all that, but you guys are hearing it first. Surprise.
I love it. Oh, I think that's a wrap for tonight. It's 7:45. So
About my bedtime.
I was out on the water all day, so I'm hanging on by a thread right now.
Hey, bad news. We got to get a load kayaks. My trailer broke, the axle broke, and the leaf spring broke. Had to rebuild the whole underside of the trailer. Got that finished a little while ago, right before the video started. Now all the boats got to be reloaded onto the trailer. You excited, Mommy? Did you get your pump on in the gym today? You're about to. That sounded so bad. Anyways.
All right. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Than's for tuning in,
We'll
guys.
see you next Tuesday
Get
at
up.
7 p.m.
Get up, go do something, because really, you only get to go around this rock one time. Same for us. Don't miss it. Don't let it pass you by. Have some fun today. If you don't, you won't.
See ya!
Okay, now how do I end this silly thing? Just kidding, we're not really leaving yet.